this is really about the technical side of talking. I think that'd be the best way to put it. There, in the first module we talked about the technical side of the presentation, the structure behind it and all the preparation, the questions you've got to ask, and we're really going to go through a very similar process for the delivery of the talk. Now, I probably am guessing that a lot of you have had experience speaking. You've been asked to speak. Maybe you've been speaking for years. Some of you have Toastmasters experience. Some of you are professional speakers. And you'll all probably agree that we all have our own style. But there are some common things that we all need to be paying attention to really make that impact that we talked about in that first module. Because if you remember that equation I gave you, impact equals income. So we're going to focus on that here, and I want to make sure I point this out too. I remember as I was doing a lot of the training as a new speaker, and I was just around some of the great speakers, motivational speakers, and I remember, gosh, there was guys and gals from New York and Chicago and Miami, and I'm thinking, I mean, they were good. And I remember sitting there thinking, man, I can't do what they do. They were super crazy high energy, high impact. They had the crowd just rocking. And I want to point out something, that being yourself is the most effective way that you can make impact, right? So we want to be effective, but we still want to be ourselves. So I really want you to keep that formula in mind as we go through here, is how do we take who you are and apply that on stage? We're not trying to pull something out of you that you're not, or make you something you're not. You certainly don't have to speak like me. You probably don't want to. But I've recognized over the years that I'm just different than other speakers, particularly in the motivational realm. I have a little more of a casual approach. I have a little drier humor, and that's okay. And some of them can jump up there and do the rah-rah, and man, they're awesome at it, but that's just not me, and that's okay, because we're all effective in our own way, right? But I also want to caution you that even the good ones don't always have this stuff figured out. I'll tell you a quick story. I saw and this was relatively recently, I saw a professional speaker trainer. Okay, so this person literally, at least according to their bio, travels the world training very well-known people, not all speakers, but different types of artists and things like that. And the talk that was to be given was on, I believe it was on how to take the stage, how to really come up and have that speaking presence. In other words, create that impact. And so this woman comes up and she's introduced, has a very impressive bio. I mean, you're thinking, wow, this lady's going to be good, right? And as she walks up to the front of the room, the first thing she does is looks around and decides that she doesn't like how the front of the room is set up, and she starts moving furniture. And I'm thinking, that's how you take the stage? I mean, shouldn't you have thought about that like an hour and a half ago? So we've been in the room for quite a while. And I thought, okay, well, stuff happens, not a big deal. Don't be overcritical, Brian. And then she goes up, and I'm looking, and in her hand are a pile of note cards. Now, for those of you that have been through the boot camp, you know where I'm going with this. I have very strong feelings on that, and we'll talk about it in this section. But she's reading notes. And then she proceeds for the first 12 minutes of a 30-minute talk to just talk about herself. And she was quite proud of herself, I might add. And I'm sitting there thinking, and by this point, people are looking around at each other like, is this lady for real? And she was. She left so little time for her content, which we talked about in the last module, that she actually told us, well, because of the limited time I now have, here's what I was going to tell you about. And she started flipping through her cards, telling about all the things that we're not going to learn. And then spent the last 12 minutes of her talk pitching us her workshops and programs, which was, it was unbelievable. I'll just put it that way. And I don't think she had a lot of results that night. And it just goes to show that even if you think you're good in front of the room, and boy, I'll tell you, I am learning every single day. I've got such a long way to go. There's so many great people out there. And we're all different in our own way, right? But we all can get better. Even someone who makes their living, feeds their family by training speakers was really not that impressive. So you don't have to worry about being great. You just have to worry about being your best, your version of great in front of the room.